Julia McCurley is with us. She's a professional matchmaker, and we're coming up on Valentine's Day. We're in the mood for love. We're talking about dating in your 30s, 40s, and 50s as we get older. So we're going to approach this subject. Good to see you, Julia. Thanks so much for being with us. Is it tougher to date in your 30s, 40s, and 50s than, let's say, in your 20s, when maybe people consider that the prime time?
Well, there's kind of different things that are going on in your life. For example, in your 30s, maybe you've kind of established what kind of person you're looking for. You've dated in your teens and 20s, so I think you're a lot more, you don't have to date a million people. You kind of know what you want.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then as we get into our 40s,
in your 40s,
we're pretty established, right?
You may have, I mean, the good part is you may have more financial freedom. You can take on some hobbies, travel, kind of expose yourself to different ways to meet singles, but the cons would be you may be divorced with children, and there's a few more layers in terms of developing a new relationship.
Right, and that would probably be a whole another topic, talking about dating after divorce. Okay, now as we get into our 50s, what do you find?
I find that the good part is my clients in their 50s that I work with are a lot more relaxed. They're not don't have like the first date jitters so much. They've had a lot of dating experience. The flip side is they may be a little bit too set in their ways. I'm sure some of your audience can relate to. You're kind of, they need to fit exactly into my lifestyle, and so it kind of takes a little coaching on my part to say, would you be willing to give up going to Fredericksburg riding your motorcycle every weekend to go, go to the farmer's market with your
what's
girlfriend?
The bottom line in terms of advice that you give these folks, whether they're in their 30s, 40s, or 50s?
I recommend that the whole checklist thing, save that for the grocery store, and what you need to really evaluate is what I call your negotiable items and your non-negotiables.
Okay.
Negotiable will be like, the profession, maybe what they look like. Your non-negotiable is like your values, honesty, warm-hearted, things like that.
And really that could apply for your 20s as well.
Yes.
Even though you do seem a little more free-spirited and carefree at that point, but it could also apply, right?
I do have some clients in their 20s, surprisingly.
Do you?
But I think, Austin is the number 4th city for dating, but they never talk about do those lead into relationships.
So do you think the big mistake is that we have a list?
I think so.
Yeah.
We just are a little bit too picky. I mean, men and women. It's like when we're 60, is it really going to matter if, kind of the superficial things?
And as we get older, do you find that even your clients who are in their 40s or 50s are still casually dating, or are they a little more serious in
No,
who
they're
they
very
select?
serious.
Okay.
Everybody that I work with definitely is looking for a long-term relationship or marriage. I mean, anybody can get online or, get a date. That's not the problem. We
went to Facebook and we got a couple of questions here. So let's see. Is it harder to find a date or mate after 30? Some folks, the Tiffany says, yes, she says, I'm 39. It's harder to find someone. If you're picky, guys say you're too independent.
That's very true. I do a lot of coaching on this where women define themselves by their career. And unfortunately, the men are picking up on that male energy. And so somehow we need to bring out our more feminine, alluring side. And I'm not saying dumb it down, but just somehow just be more nurturing versus, executive.
Gotcha. Okay, here's another one. Do you need to lower your expectations after 30? Angie writes, I would rather set high standards and be alone than lower my standards and be unhappy and unsatisfied.
I'd like to talk to her and understand what her standards are.
You got to give Julia a call.
I mean, obviously, no cheaters or liars, but if you're looking for somebody that's going to run marathons with you, let's kind of reconsider that.
Yeah, that's good. And do you find that some clients come in and say, look, I want him to have X, Y, and Z, and you're like, hold on, you're not perfect either.
I do. And some people, especially like the hobbies thing, it's like you don't know that other person isn't willing to try some of the things that you do. And so you shouldn't just rule somebody out because they're, not into whatever, collecting teddy bears.
Collecting teddy bears.
I have a client like that. Sorry.
All right, so dating in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, it's possible, it's fun.
Yes.
It's just a little different as we get older.
For sure. And I have clients all the way up into their 70s. I think no matter what age you're at, we all want to have love and companionship. It's part of human nature.
Absolutely. Julia, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And to any of your listeners out there, you can go to my website, trysomethingmore.com, and learn more about my services.
All right. Some good insight this morning. We'll be right back.